Look at this creature, it's smiling at you, and that smile never goes away. This is an axolotl, and it's one of the strangest animals on the planet. It can regenerate lost limbs and has a life cycle that allows it to stay young their whole lives. While most salamanders grow up, lose their gills, and move on to land, axolotls said no thanks and decided to be babies forever. And somehow, these adorable underwater creatures might hold a secret to revolutionizing human medicine. Let me explain. The axolotl is a type of salamander, but it's unlike any salamander you've ever seen. These amphibians spend their whole lives underwater, existing in the wild in only one place on Earth, the lake complex of Xochimilco, a network of artificial channels, small lakes, and temporary wetlands near Mexico City. Here's what makes them unique. They wear a permanent Mona Lisa smile. Seriously, they often appear to be smiling because of the shape of their mouth, and that smile stays with them their entire lives. Those feathery structures sticking out from their heads are their gills. Though they keep these external gills, adults also have functional lungs and can breathe through their skin. They may pop up to the surface for a quick gulp of air from time to time. Because they live in water their whole lives, they always have a tail and webbed feet for swimming. They use these webbed feet to walk along the bottom of lakes and canals, which is why they're sometimes called the Mexican walking fish, even though they're definitely not fish. Axolotls average 23 centimeters, about 9 inches in length, though some can grow larger. They weigh about as much as a deck of cards. The name axolotl comes from the ancient Aztec language and translates to water monster. According to legend, the axolotl is the Aztec god of fire and lightning, Axolotl, who disguised himself as a salamander to avoid being sacrificed. Pretty dramatic origin story for such a cute creature. Now, here's where axolotls go from adorable to absolutely mind-blowing. Axolotls can regenerate their limbs, lungs, heart, jaws, spine, and even parts of their brain. Let me say that again. If an axolotl loses a leg, it doesn't just heal with a scar, it regrows the entire leg. Bones, muscles, nerves, blood vessels, everything, perfectly. Scientists have found that axolotls can regrow a new limb 5 times perfectly, in a few weeks without even a scar. Think about that. If you or I lose a finger, that's it, we're done. But an axolotl just grows a new one, and it can do this over and over again. But it's not just limbs, it can regenerate its limbs, lungs, heart, jaws, spine, and even parts of its brain. The axolotl can regrow organs that we can't even imagine regrowing. This is why scientists are obsessed with axolotls. They have been popular in medical testing for a long time. Researchers want to understand how they do this, because if we can figure out the mechanism, we might be able to apply it to humans. Imagine a world where we could regrow damaged hearts, repair severed spinal cords, or heal burn victims without scars. The axolotl could be the key to all of that. Research has shown that the axolotl may be as much as 1,000 times more resistant to cancer than humans. 1,000 times. Scientists are studying this too, trying to understand what makes them so resilient. The axolotl isn't just a pet, it's a living, breathing medical breakthrough waiting to happen. If you've seen pictures of axolotls online, you've probably seen the famous pink one, but axolotls actually come in a rainbow of colors. In fact, almost all wild axolotls are brown. Axolotls have dark coloring to match their muddy lake habitats and can shift their hue a few shades lighter or darker as needed for camouflage. This makes sense. When you live in a murky water and mud, being dark helps you blend in and avoid predators. But in captivity, breeders have created some stunning color variations. Although naturally dark, axolotls can be many colors: white, pink, golden, or multicolored. The pink and white axolotls you see all over social media are bred by humans as pets. In fact, some of them are born with a genetic condition that makes them pinkish white. There are golden axolotls with shimmering yellow tones, pure white albinos with red eyes, and even completely black melanoid axolotls that look like water dragons. Each color morph is equally adorable and equally capable of those incredible regeneration powers we just talked about. The color doesn't change their abilities, it just makes them even more photogenic. So, what do axolotls actually do all day? Well, axolotls are primarily active by night. During the day, they will burrow under mud or aquatic vegetation. They're nocturnal hunters, which means they sleep during the day and come alive at night when it's time to eat. Despite their undeveloped teeth, axolotls are effective predators, inhaling worms, mollusks, crustaceans, insect larvae, and even small fish. Wait, how do they eat without teeth? Using a suction technique, axolotls consume worms, tadpoles, insects, and small fish. They literally vacuum up their food like a living hoover. Their mouths may stay open for a few moments after eating, making them look like they're smiling even more than usual. Axolotls move slowly but maneuver through lake vegetation well. They're not fast swimmers, they're more like gentle, graceful gliders. But don't let that fool you. When faced with a threat, they can move as quick as 15 kilometers per hour, about 10 miles per hour. That's surprisingly fast for a creature that spends most of its time just chilling on the bottom. Axolotls are solitary creatures. They don't really hang out in groups or form social bonds. Each axolotl prefers to do its own thing, hunting alone and claiming its own little territory. And here's the dark fact. Some young axolotls are cannibals. Yes, the grim reality is that many young axolotls wouldn't think twice about having a nibble of their brothers and sisters after they're born. Luckily, if one bites off another's limb, well, we already know what happens. It just grows back. Here's the heartbreaking part of the axolotl story. While millions of these creatures live in aquariums, research labs, and homes around the world, in the wild they're almost gone. Axolotls are considered critically endangered by the IUCN Red List. The surviving population is very small, with less than 1,000 axolotls remaining in the wild. Let me put that in perspective. There are over 1 million axolotls kept as pets and in laboratories worldwide, but in their natural home, fewer than 1,000. What happened? Habitat loss from tourism and residential housing development, in addition to agricultural and industrial pollution, have drastically reduced the axolotl population. The lakes where they live have shrunk dramatically as Mexico City has grown. The lake complex has shrunk and parts have become contaminated, shrinking the axolotl population. The introduction of tilapia and other invasive fish species which eat baby salamanders and compete with adults for food has made things even worse. These invasive fish may prey on axolotls, particularly young ones. But there's hope. The Mexican government, as well as many non-profits, are trying to save Mexican axolotls, in part by restoring parts of their freshwater natural habitat and offering ecotourism for people to see the quirky salamanders in the wild. Conservation groups are working to clean up the lakes, remove invasive species, and create safe breeding zones for wild axolotls. The goal is to bring them back from the brink before it's too late. So, there you have it. The axolotl, a creature that refuses to grow up, can rebuild its own body and spend its entire life smiling. Axolotls live about 10 to 15 years in captivity when cared for properly. That's a decade or more of that permanent grin. They'll live in proof that nature still has secrets we're only beginning to understand. And who knows, maybe one day, the lessons we learn from this smiling salamander will help us heal in ways we never thought possible. If you found this fascinating, hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most incredible animals. Drop a comment and let me know. Would you ever keep an axolotl as a pet? Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay curious.